Hola amigos y amigas, you are now with Jocelyn, and this is our weekly energy reading for the week ahead, where we are gaining a deeper understanding and higher conscious awareness of the overall energy for this coming week and how we can navigate it as the best possible version of ourselves, as our higher selves. So if you are aligning to this video for the first time or to my channel, then there may be some messages in this reading that you are meant to hear, as I always set the intention that those who are meant to receive these messages align to this video. If you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. I'm so grateful for your presence here on my YouTube community. I sincerely appreciate you so much for investing your time and energy into supporting me and my content and what I share, and also for all of you bringing me into your present moment. If you are a new visitor, welcome. Again, I'm so grateful you are here. If you enjoy this energy reading and you would like more energy readings, I drop one every single week. And I also share lifestyle, journaling, spirituality, self-development type content. So if you want more of that on your timeline and in your life, then make sure to click subscribe. And I do also just want to share that I do offer one-on-one energy readings that are intuitive, that are very similar to what I'm doing here. And they are between you and I, and it's just gaining clarity on the overall energy that you are being called to lean into and to be aware of. So if that's something you're interested in, I'll have a link in the description. But without further ado, let's get into this reading, as I am so looking forward to what comes up and what messages we are meant to hear, as we are now in eclipse season and we're transitioning out of this recent Taurus full moon, partial lunar eclipse that we just had, and that is and was so intense. So I'm excited to see how that energy is still coming up in this reading as it did in last week's reading. So let's get into it. I already cleansed myself, cleansed my space, cleansed my decks. I do want to disclaim, as I do in every video, that this is energy reading that is unedited. So I do live in the city. If there are any neighborly city noises, we are affirming that we're going to remain centered and grounded throughout this reading, and we will be present for it all. Ooh, I'm so honored to do these readings. I've literally been doing these readings every single week on my channel this whole year, and it's just been such an honor. So thank you all so much for being here. What's the overall energy for the week ahead? What's the overall energy for the week ahead? What is the overall energy for the week ahead? What is the overall energy for the week ahead? Universe, angels, ancestors, spirit guides, sacred ones, what is the overall energy for the week ahead as we are in eclipse season, as we just experienced this Taurus full moon? What is the overall energy for the week ahead? What is the overall energy for this upcoming week? What is the overall energy? What is the overall energy for this coming week as we transition out of this partial lunar eclipse in Taurus? What do we need to be aware of is the overall energy for the week ahead? We got two cards here. Is there one more? Is there one more? Is there one more that is meant to be made known to us? And yes, there is a couple more. So all right, the overall energy for this coming week, I'm going to share it in chronological order of which they all came out. The first one we got is the Direction Guardian, to choose your path. And truly, this partial lunar eclipse, this full moon in Taurus, really signified a turning point for all of us. Especially if you are someone who is very tuned into their spirit, who is committing to their healing, and who is really showing up for the cycles and the transits and all the divinity that's taking place in our lives. And I know that you are, simply because you're watching this reading. This is really the time to commit to the direction in which you are consciously choosing to walk. Because this eclipse really gave us and is giving us the opportunity to let go, to finally let go of the things that we have been working on letting go, that we have been holding on to and we've known we need to let go. This really is a turning point. And this really is a time to now, okay, we have this turning point. We went through this immense awakening and releasing and healing. And now's the time to choose the path. Choose the version of you that you are committing to, that you're devoting yourself to. And then the other one that we got that came out was the peacekeeper, to let go of the need to be right. Okay? So a part of, what will be accompanying us in this new path that we're deciding to walk into, this new version of ourselves that we are consciously choosing to become, is to really have the peacekeeper energy, right? We are prioritizing our peace over everything. Our peace is more important than our ego and what our ego wants and desires and thinks is right or wrong. Our peace is more important than that. So keep in mind, especially this week, as we are experiencing this pivot and experiencing this new beginning, this newfound clarity and vision, if you will, let's keep in mind, to let go of our ego when it comes up, to continue doing the work of softening our ego and not allowing it to run our lives in a way that takes us off of this path that we are choosing to walk. We also got the High Priestess to harness mystic power, okay? We are definitely in a time where our psychic abilities are heightened. And I just want to note that we are all healers, okay? We are all healers, we are all manifestors, we are all mystical, we are all spiritual. We all have these intuitive divine gifts within us. It's just a matter of awakening to them and believing in them, okay? And so if you have felt yourself becoming more intuitive, becoming more tapped in some way, like you're receiving messages or you're receiving insights or callings to do certain things, to have certain conversations, if you've been having certain dreams that are just very vivid and they feel like they're trying to send you a message, really harness that power, okay? Invest in those abilities that are becoming heightened for you, because they are going to assist you in walking this path that you are choosing to take. They're also going to assist you in keeping the peace, all right? And we also, lastly but not leastly, got the Great Teacher, to learn from spiritual experiences. Again, I know that the simple fact that you are watching this, you are someone who is awakening to their spiritual experience. And again, this really is a time to gain all the lessons that are becoming available to us, to really soak in all the knowledge that is making itself available to us, to really take advantage of the fact that these veils are being lifted and we're able to access these other dimensions and our spirit teams and our guides and our loving ancestors and nature and just these beautiful divine energies that we are collectively awakening to and individually aligning to in our own unique ways, right? So really step into this week with the awareness that, okay, I am getting clear on the direction of which I'm heading into, and I know that as I choose to walk this new path as this spiritual self, as this higher self, as this mystical, powerful, intuitive self that I am and that I am progressively becoming, I am going to walk this path that I am being mindful of walking with the awareness of really taking in all the lessons that are making themselves known to me. Okay, so this is really like a week to just be extra mindful and to be like just extra open to receiving these mystical powers and psychic abilities and harnessing them in a way that like uplifts the way that they're already naturally being heightened and uplifted. So let's see how this continues to unfold. Let's see how this continues to unfold. What energy do we align with? Should any challenges or obstacles arise this week? Should any challenges or obstacles arise this week? What energy do we align with? Should any challenges or obstacles arise this week? What energy do we align with? All right, this is it right here. We got a combo, a triple combo, 3 cards that came out together, and it's very beautifully aligning with the messages we're already receiving. But should any challenges or obstacles arise this week, really tap into patience, okay? This is really a time to be patient with the way in which your life is unfolding, to be patient with the season of your life, of the collective life, and of natural life, okay? We are in the season of fall. This is naturally the season of shedding, of letting go, of surrendering, and of trusting the process, trusting that as parts of you are dying off, you know that spring is still on the way, and you know that this is a natural part of the process that you have to go through and you can't skip. You know, this is really a time to be patient. This is really, really a time to harness your patience and to continue going forward with your life, okay? This new path that we are choosing to walk is a path in which we are committing to remain progressive and consistent and moving onward and upward, right? We're no longer subscribing to stagnant energy. We're no longer subscribing to energy that brings us down, that holds us back, that is dense, that is draining, that is exhausting. So that we may continue to just take one step forward and one step forward and one step forward. And even when it feels like we're taking steps back sometimes, we're still stepping forward. Why? Because we are choosing to really learn from this spiritual experience, right? So should any challenges arise this week, really have the mentality of, this is a challenge, but I'm going to continue to move forward. I'm not going to allow this challenge or this obstacle to hold me back, because I'm not on that timeline anymore. I don't resonate with being held back. I don't resonate with the version of myself that allowed anyone or anything to hold me back, right? To create blockages and stagnancy in my emotional wellness, my professional wellness, my spiritual wellness, my relationship wellness, my romantic wellness. We are moving onward and upward here. From here on out, that is the path that we are choosing to take. And also being mindful of the new beginnings that are naturally taking place, right? If there are endings, there's also beginnings. And if there are beginnings, there's also endings that are taking place. But again, because we are naturally in the season of autumn and the season of fall where endings are taking place, we have to know that endings don't last forever, right? There is this natural duality in all life. And where there are endings, there are beginnings just around the river bend, just on the horizon. And they're worth looking forward to. So whatever challenges or obstacles come up, it's like, okay, I'm going to be patient with this new beginning that is loading right now. And this challenge is not going to hold me back from approaching this new beginning that I'm very much so looking forward to, and that I have been feeling for a while now is on its way to me, right? I know that there's a part of you that has intuitively felt like all of these changes taking place in your life, all of this healing that you've been called to do, all of this shadow work and confronting yourself and releasing that's naturally been taking place, and the ways in which you probably may have been forced to let go of your need to have control over the way your life has been unfolding in certain aspects. It's all leading up to something, and I know that part of you feels that. And the part of you that feels that is the part of you that you need to, again, really, really harness, okay? Really harness the parts of you that just feel spiritually in tune, spiritually inclined, really tapped in, really like it's calling you towards a certain direction, a certain person, a certain conversation, a certain decision. Really lean into your own intuitive, psychic powers, because again, you have them. We all have them. All right. What do we focus on healing this week? What do we focus on healing? What do we focus on healing? What do we focus on? Wow. What do we focus on healing? 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 All right. Beautiful. This is really unfolding so beautifully right now, and I just feel so calm receiving these messages, and I hope that you feel this calmness and that this calmness cultivates into your week, into our week, and into just the progression of our ascension. Let me make sure that this is still recording, because I've been having issues with that lately, but not today. Still recording. All right, so guess what came up as the first card that we should focus on healing? We got psychic development. Y'all, this is really a time where we are being tapped in to the well of psychic ability. All right. Yes. Again, really, this is really a time to strengthen your own psychic ability and your intuitive ability and your discernment, because we're gonna need these abilities moving forward in the next few years and in our continued self-evolution. Because to be straight up, as the spiritual space continues to be capitalized and popularized and colonized, to be real, it's gonna be, if you don't strengthen your discernment, and if you don't strengthen your own ability to really be tapped in, you're gonna be bombarded with so many different kinds of spiritual messages that aren't genuine and that aren't really tapped into source and to light, and will not be guiding you in the direction in which you are desiring to be guided, right? It's important to not allow yourself to be tricked, ultimately. And the way you're not going to be tricked by the progression of, capitalism taking a hold of the spiritual space and our spiritual practices and this divinity is by, really, again, harnessing your own mystic power. All right. And you really have to believe that you have that in you. Yes, you are that powerful. Yes, you know, we grew up thinking that, you know, psychics are like woo woo, and I can only speak for myself. Some of us really grew up around these beautiful, spiritual, safe environments. But I was just thinking to myself the other day, like, oh my goodness, man, like I really do oracle readings. I really, you know, am just reflecting on all the ways that I have harnessed my own mystical power and my own spiritual abilities and my own intuition and my own gifts, and really uncovering them and discovering them and harnessing them and strengthening them, and just exploring all these different healing modalities. You know, it just, a part of me is like, oh my goodness, like, I'm really tapped in. Not that I never thought that would happen to me, but it's still like, it's still very new, you know, it's still like, oh my goodness, like, this is really the path, you know, this is really my path. This is really the way my life is unfolding, and I love it. I'm so grateful for it. I feel like this is really the divine time to do so. And it is. And this is what this reading is telling us. It's like, yes, like, really, please heal your psychic development, heal your relationship with your own psychic powers and your own ability to heal yourself, to guide yourself, to know yourself, to be tapped in your own divine way. We also got, you know, changes. And, you know, there's a couple things here. It's to heal our relationship with change, you know, and this has been coming up quite often in the past few readings, is like, heal your relationship with change, because a lot of the times, you know, we've come to know that we don't have the best relationship with change. Change scares us, change makes us feel uncertain, change causes us to question ourselves, but ultimately change is such a gift, and we really need to work on switching that perspective to just having a healthier perspective on change. And there's also, you know, the other side of this card is changes are taking place at this time for our healing. Okay? Again, take on the perspective of the great teacher and, you know, learn from your experiences, learn from your challenges, learn from the changes taking place in your life, and allow them to teach you and heal you. Okay? We also got heal masculine energy, which I find very beautiful. Heal your masculinity. Ask yourself and observe the ways in which toxic masculinity or reflections of unbalanced, unhealthy masculinity has been showing up in your life. And, you know, there's many different ways that unhealthy masculinity can be manifested, and many reasons why, and it shows up in many different ways. But the first ones that come to mind, you know, just to give you an example, is like, have you been allowing yourself to really feel? Have you been avoidant? Right? Have you been afraid to step into your own power, to provide, to protect yourself? Have you been fearful of change? Have you been really had walls up and not really allowing yourself to experience success, to experience love? You know, in what ways have you been blocking yourself with the intention to protect yourself? But, you know, that intention to protect yourself is actually manifesting in unhealthy ways. Those are reflections of, you know, toxic masculinity. And so I, you know, definitely recommend that you look into my podcast episode with Laura Grant, where we talked about, you know, masculine and feminine energy and what that looks like when it's unhealthy and when it's healthy. It really is one of my favorite podcast episodes. It's, you know, here on my channel, so browse my channel and you'll see my podcast videos. But definitely, if you want to learn more about masculine, feminine energies, check that out. Okay, what are we being called to surrender at this time? What are we being called to surrender at this time? What are we being called to surrender at this time? What are we being called to surrender this coming week? What are we being called to surrender this coming week? What are we being called to surrender this coming week? What are we being called to surrender this coming week? What are we being called to surrender this coming week? We got 2 cards. Is there another thing we should focus on surrendering? Okay. So this card actually, this first card I'm going to show you is actually a card that popped up when I was like shuffling my decks and cleansing them before this reading. So I feel like it's really meant for us, you know, to be aware of. So surrender low self-esteem. You deserve success. You deserve love. You deserve abundance. Set an intention to identify and release any remnants of low self-esteem. So this is a call to do some shadow work, as you know, with everything that I just discussed and what it is that we're being called to heal. All of that should be incorporated in the shadow work that you are either thinking of doing or you're already doing, and really taking note of, you know, if you have any reflections or remnants of low self-esteem showing up in your life and where they are rooted from. Why do you have low self-esteem when it comes to this particular thing? Why does low self-esteem show up in this particular experience? So if you've been finding yourself questioning whether you deserve certain things, or whether you're worthy of certain things, or, you know, doubting yourself just in any way, shape, or form, this really is a week to work on that and to hold space on healing that. Because again, in this new direction, this new timeline that we're stepping into amongst this eclipse season and just this natural season of transition and transformation that we're experiencing, we've got to surrender low self-esteem. We're also being called to surrender our desire to control people. Being over-controlling can sabotage relationships. To more effectively achieve your goals, back off, regroup, and give the situation some breathing room. And this is a codependent thing, you know, when, you know, we sense change taking place in a relationship, and we sense that the person is becoming distant from us, we can feel some anxiousness and be called to, you know, do things to really hold on to the relationship in unhealthy ways, right? And a lot of the times, you know, we just have to allow some breathing room in a relationship for it to be rebalanced and for it to restabilize, and for us to really take note of, okay, is this relationship really meant to be in my life in this season or not? And sometimes we won't know until we let it go. Sometimes we do have to lose things. And yes, it is true that that distance does make the heart grow fonder sometimes. Distance can be very healing. Absence can be very healing. Solitude can be very healing when we allow ourselves to experience that. We realize so much, okay? Allow that to take place and have faith and trust that it is happening for a reason, and that nothing that is meant for you will miss you, including relationships and people, all right? So surrender your desire to control people. If you know that need to control has been showing up, you've got to let it go, my friend. We also got surrender to play. Take a break from overthinking a goal. Do something fun. Play is a time of recreation and rejuvenation. I was thinking about this the other day of how important it is, especially for creatives. And let's keep in mind, just like we all have psychic abilities, we are all creative, okay? Even mathematicians, where it can feel just very logistical and straight to the point, that can be very creative in its own divine, beautiful way. Scientists are creative in their very own divine, beautiful way. And we all, like, our creative selves need to be allowed to play, need to be allowed to just be and to explore and to adventure and to live life without forcing ourselves to create and to work. We need these moments of just having fun, because fun and play is very healing, not only for us and our creativity, but for our inner child, for our healing, for our awakening, and also, again, for harnessing our own mystical power, right? It's important that as we are committing ourselves to our healing and our awakening and our, self-evolution and becoming our higher selves and all that, that we don't succumb to like being so sucked into it all, into the shadow work, that we're, in the depths of this darkness and this like, intensity, because healing and all of this can be a lot. And so we allow ourselves, it's possible for grief and celebration to coexist. It's possible for sadness and play to coexist. It's possible for shadow work and fun to coexist. So allow yourself to really experience the dualities of life. All right, don't lean into too many intensities. Okay, really strive for balance and keep balance in mind in all areas of your life. So this coming week, do something fun for yourself. Have some fun, do some play, enjoy yourself. What is our affirmation for this coming week? What is our affirmation for this coming week? What is our affirmation for this coming week? Thank you, universe, angels, ancestors, spirit guides, for these messages, for your presence. All right. We got a lot of cards coming out in this reading. This one is all my relationships are harmonious. Really, the theme of relationships overall have been such, such on the forefront this year, hasn't it? Like just healing our relationships and learning about healthy relationships and what relationships we're worthy of, what relationships we need to let go of. Really has been coming up a lot, but we're affirming that all our relationships are harmonious. When we create harmony in our minds and hearts, we will find it in our lives. The inner creates the outer always. So in other words, the more that you have harmony with yourself, the more that you will have harmony in your relationships. I am in the process of positive change. Yes, we are. Okay, we are healing our perspective with change and our relationship with change, and affirming that all the changes taking place in our life are positive. I am unfolding in fulfilling ways. Only good can come to me. I now express health, happiness, prosperity, and peace of mind. Yes, yes, yes. I am willing to forgive. Here we go. Some more healing for our relationships. Forgiveness of myself and others releases me from the past. Forgiveness is the answer to almost every problem. Forgiveness is a gift to myself. I forgive and I set myself free. Again, with this eclipse energy of really bringing light to the darkness and to what we need to continue to heal and let go of, forgiveness is really a huge part of this releasing experience and process and healing. So who do you need to forgive? And I always say, if you're struggling to forgive someone else, focus on forgiving yourself first. My future is glorious. I now live in limitless love, light, and joy. All is well in my world. Amen. So overall, y'all, I do feel called to emphasize and highlight the fact that, again, eclipses are a time where we experience a blackout of sorts, and remnants, reflections of that energy, even though the eclipse has passed, because we're still approaching another eclipse, a solar eclipse in the beginning of December, we're still really going to be feeling this eclipse energy. And so from this recent lunar eclipse that we just had to the upcoming eclipse that we're going to have, this is really a period where we're going to be having truths come to the surface. We are going to have a lot of shadow work to lean into. We're going to have darkness come to light, light come to darkness. And so it's, you know, important for us to really lean into all of these messages throughout this eclipse season that we just received, of, you know, really tapping into our intuition and strengthening that, healing our relationship with change and transformation, and surrendering any remnants of us feeling unworthy or undeserving, or having any doubt, worry, stress. Really surrendering our need to have control, not only just over people, but just overall, right? We still really need to work on unprogramming and unlearning that, because we are really we've really been programmed to believe that we have to have control over everything. And when we don't, we're either failing or we're not, it's like we feel like not having control is some kind of reflection of failure, when it's really not. Okay, change is such a natural part of life, and we're not meant to have all control. And that really is a perspective that is rooted in just having this sight of the great teacher, where everything in life is teaching us, everything in life is intending to balance us and align us, and really bring about our most authentic selves. And so this is really a beautiful time to learn from life and the way in which your life is unfolding, and really keeping the peace, right? Because a lot of the times when we are in the midst of these kinds of seasons of transition and change and darkness and healing and solitude, and like really like turning inward and having introspection, it can, you know, be work for us to really remain at peace, and reminding ourselves that we are prioritizing our peace, that our peace, again, is more important than whatever our ego has to say or desire or do. Okay, our peace is more important than our need to have control. Our peace is more important than these intrusive thoughts that are trying to deter us. Our peace is more important than any drama that may come about, you know. So just really keep the peace, right? Really keep the peace in this eclipse season and in this coming week. And again, y'all, just really look forward to the new beginnings and have patience with the way in which your life is unfolding. And I hope that you enjoyed this reading, y'all. I'm so honored again to receive and relay these messages. I'm so grateful for all of you being here, and I'm wishing us just the most evolutionary, ascending eclipse season ahead that is really going to bring this year to a beautiful close, if we really allow ourselves to remain grounded and centered in this space of conscious awareness, and again, learning from our spiritual experience and tapping into it. So peace and blessings, y'all. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.